Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, depending upon which part of the world you're joining this unique roundtable from. So welcoming again everyone to thinking beyond A/B testing and focusing more on a user-centric CRO program. My name is Kaushal Bhatt, and I lead worldwide marketing and partnerships here at Tatvic Analytics, a leading marketing analytics firm. Okay, so going to the topic, right? As a lot of you would probably know, only a fifth of online businesses are satisfied with the conversion on their websites and mobile apps. Yes, 1/5. And which is why smart businesses have started thinking beyond just the A/B testing and making conversion rate optimization as an integral part of their digital strategy. So how would we define actually conversion and conversion rate optimization? Most of us would know, conversion rate optimization is the practice of increasing the percentage of users and visitors who perform a desired action on our websites or on our mobile apps. These desired action, in other words, could be defined as conversion, can include purchasing a product, clicking add to cart, or downloading a white paper, signing up for a particular service, or just filling out a form, or even clicking on a particular link. However, the standard definition of CRO, which I just spoke about, places a lot of focus on conversion percentages, averages, and benchmarks. These emphasis on a numerical approach, which is popularly known as A/B testing, ideally comes with a downside, right? The more you look at spreadsheets full of A/B testing results and actions, the less you think of the people, platform, and the processes behind this. To dispel a few myths about A/B testing and conversion rate optimization and get an industry expert's perspective on CRO, we have invited two of industry's thought leaders on conversion rate optimization and also a CRO champion and a scientist for our today's discussion. Please join me in welcoming Jatin Chikhara, digital strategist and a brand marketeer at Royal Enfield, Soumya Patnaik, Vice President Marketing at Fullerton, India, and Azim Topiwala, Conversion Rate Optimization Scientist at Tatvic Analytics. Okay, so before we begin, ideally, and like as the agenda suggested, I want to first turn my table to Azim, right? Azim, how would you define, or rather, how would you draw a difference between the A/B testing and more holistic conversion rate optimization framework?
Hi, Kaushal. So, firstly, obviously, A/B testing and conversion optimization are two very different things, but overlapping in nature. However, one thing that is central to both these activities is a favorable user experience, and that is what defines the success or failure of any of these practices that we do. Going back, one of them, which is A/B test, is part of the process, while CRO is the process overall. A/B test is more about those 1% marginal gains, while CRO is about an aggregation of these marginal gains. Now, let me explain this with an analogy. Race car. Now, say if you're conducting an A/B test, your immediate next objective with the race car is to get a faster lap time. So what you have to do essentially is you have to make the car faster. How do you do that? You either increase power output or you make the car lighter, right? You probably optimize engine performance or make the car lighter by getting rid of the seats or removing any redundant car parts, so on and so forth. Now, here, the objective of the A/B test would be to find out which particular optimization would work better. Depending on that, we define whether it's a success or a failure. Now, here it's important to note that the objective of this A/B test is to evaluate an immediate decision that we have to take. Once that decision or an action item is achieved, the A/B test is over. You either learn out of it or you earn out of it. Now, going back to the analogy of a race car, say conversion optimization as an activity would be dead focused on focusing on winning races, whatever it takes. Now, be it improving engine performance, be it making the car lighter, a combination of these factors or a combination of any of these factors, right? The idea is to improve car performance. So for that, we drill down to the specifics and we evaluate a lot of objectives, a lot of these parameters, say, and towards the end, we find out that there are 3 of these impact factors that are most potent to improve engine performance. Say there's the aerodynamics, there's improving engine performance and making the car lighter, obviously. Now here we conduct a series of A/B test experiments to find out which of these optimizations perform well. And it doesn't end here. CRO is all about continuous improvement, right? So we are not going to just stop here. We are going to keep performing these tests to see how we're improving race after race, victory after victory. So if I have to summarize it, CRO essentially is a universe, while A/B testing is a galaxy. Now, A/B testing is time-bound, while CRO is an always-on activity. A/B testing focuses on an immediate decision that you have to take, while CRO is all about a broader vision that you are focused on. A/B testing is about using tools and statistics to deploy experiments, while CRO is largely process-oriented. And to summarize, in a nutshell, A/B testing is tactical, while CRO is strategic in its focus. Does that answer your question, Kaushal?
Very well. In fact, I love the analogy of a racing car, and how apt, right? Because I'm now turning my table to Jatin, who of course represents a very unique use case, right? The automobile industries. So Jatin and his team who's redefined and revolutionized the entire customer experience on Royal Enfield's website. That has led to a significant increase in the traffic and conversions on the website. However, my question, Jatin, to you is, for a brand like Royal Enfield, what role does your website play, and why conversion is of that significant importance?
Thank you, Kaushal, and thank you, Azim, for setting the context, so well for us. Well, Royal Enfield is a very, very unique brand, I must say, and it's been, I've been here in the last 6 years, and I had to unlearn everything, which I had learned earlier, to be relevant, in this environment. Now, this website for us, for that matter, any digital owned platform for us, plays a very, very kind of important role, just because for Royal Enfield it is the community which is right at the center. When I say community is right at the center, that means the amount of traffic and the variety of that will actually land on any of your own platforms, is absolutely amazing. Just to give you, an example in terms of the number of people who we actually, who visit us on a month-on-month basis just on our website alone, and I'm not even giving the numbers per application right now. It's close to 3 to 4 million on an average, in a month, which is, a great number for an OEM to have, which actually, while it places us in a very, very unique position, it actually also, gives us a huge challenge. Now that challenge is that, I cannot have that one, one strategy for everybody who's landing on my website. And, I need to ensure that the entire journey is frictionless for each and every person who is landing out there, while their motivations for visiting my website is so very different. While a person could just be an intender who is coming in to just experience a product, or probably just, just to know more about it. And there could be a in-use customer who's actually coming to our website to maybe, purchase into maybe one of the apparels or, genuine merchandise, or probably one of the rides that we conduct. So the motivation for all of these people are very, very different, which actually, gives us a huge challenge to manage and deal with these visitors and ensure that we are relevant and contextual all the time.
Agree.
Yeah. So and that is what we have tried to do a lot of experiments, a lot of things with you guys to actually overcome that challenge, and we'll probably talk about it in the session.
Sure. And that's exactly my next question is, however, you the example that you narrated was very right. While being completely a B2C industry, but the kind of a sites use case is very much relevant to even a lot of B2B context as well, right? And then the kind of objectives that you guys are trying to fulfill. Amazing that was. And you highlighted, right? So I'm sure initially when you would have started, you would have focused a lot on A/B testing. And then when we've kind of aligned together for our performing CRO program. But would you first highlight, Jatin, what were the challenges actually you faced, or rather the limitations of the A/B testing that were conducted initially, and how did you overcome those by leveraging rather a more holistic CRO program, Jatin?
Now I love that, the last point which Azim made, which is that, A/B testing is very, very tactical in nature, where, CRO programs are very, very, strategic and of course, long term, so of course, what happened over the years was that, Royal Enfield, of course, we are a digital first company, and most of today, today I can, we can proudly say that close to, 58-60% of the leads that are coming through are coming on digital platform for us. Now, but it took us a lot of work to, reach here. So we have, a few modules within the website. One, of course, is anybody can book a test ride. The other one is anybody can, kind of configure a motorcycle, and then, book a test ride. So what was happening was that, while there were a lot of people who were landing on the website, but, they were dropping off at some point or the other. And of course, there were various reasons that people were dropping off at. Now, we could have easily done something that, all right, now A/B test, the name suggests itself, it's A or B.
True.
So I'm only giving two options to somebody to choose out of. So the idea was to, kind of start experimenting a lot, on the places where, which mean business to us. One, of course, was kind of generating leads. The other one was, kind of get more bookings through our configurator. So in both of these places, we, of course, we had certain ideas, we had certain, hypotheses which required, of course, proving. So we started doing a lot of experiments, on different levels. We started, so in some places there were buttons which were added, in some places, the fields which were reduced, in some places, it was just a color change, the creative change. So there were a lot of things which were happening together to understand which one is actually performing. People who have shown different, kind of, and it's a very, very old, marketing tactic that we guys have been using in A/B testing. But we actually experimented with not one, not two, but multiple variants to understand which is actually kind of performing the best for us. And of course, one fits all is not the strategy that we were going ahead with. We really wanted to personalize it for different cohorts who have different motivations. So having said that, of course, the book a test ride, we get close to 60,000 leads on our website on a monthly basis. When I say so, and this is, these are the people who, these are, of course, this is a lot of is traffic from our investments in search, but a lot of it is organic traffic as well. Now, the idea was how we have to treat both of these very, very differently. People who are intenders and who are pulling in, the other one are the people who are actually, automatically inclined towards making a purchase. So what is the communication which needs to be shown to both of these different sets of people? And within these sets of people, you have to understand, out of my portfolio, which has 6 sub-brands, which sub-brand is the most relevant to each one of them. Yeah. So of course, at the base of everything was, of course, the analytics and the know-how about my customer, which we were actually kind of gaining from Google Analytics 360. So so that we are able to capture all of the actions, we are able to know that where the customer is coming from, what are they actually spending more time on, and all of that, and then start building those experiments to see what would actually not just increase my consumer, not just increase my conversion rate, but actually help in making it a seamless experience, a frictionless experience, and kind of the customer experience at the end of it has to kind of increase.
Right.
So it is the visitor's experience that we are running after, rather than the conversion rate alone.
Agree. So this is excellent. So what you highlighted was more important, the entire experimentation approach, and moreover, the kind of the entire cohorts approach that you took up, and primarily the communication, which was key, keeping in mind those sub groups or sub segments that you've had, or rather catering to various segments within it, right? And this is interesting. And we all, as users, can imagine if a brand like Royal Enfield, which is into automobile industry, takes up this pragmatic and deep dive approach into conversion rate optimization, the question, or rather challenge to financial services, is definitely obvious. I mean, they leverage digital primarily as a channel, moreover to generate leads, right? So from now, the automobile industry, we now switch our focus to financial services. Soumya, how are you and your marketing teams driving culture of conversion rate optimization at Fullerton? Could you throw some lights on it, please?
Absolutely. I think first of all, thanks to Azim, Jatin, and you two for setting up the context very nicely and giving all the relevant and nice information till now. So I'll like all of the stories are kind of related, but in Fullerton, like when we started the digital journey, first of all, the biggest challenge we were facing was we didn't have enough traffic, for the digital channel to grow, right? We initially didn't have enough traffic. So first we worked on like 2-3 years back, we worked on to get more traffic into website in terms of obviously search and organic growth and everything. So the first problem statement was solved. So we started getting at least 3 times traffic, and we moved up in the ranking, and that helps us to get organic traffic. Now the second problem started coming. Okay, we are getting more leads now, but we want more leads, more than the more leads were required at that particular time for the business. So how do we monetize? So suppose we are getting X number of leads currently from the traffic we are getting now. How can I move with the X to X plus? So that was the challenge were thrown to us, and then we started working into the concept of this CRO, where obviously we start focusing on educating people how we can take the benefit of the CRO program. When I'm saying take the benefit means, so what this particular CRO program will look like, how the numbers and like the KPIs will be defined around the CRO program. So those are the most important things, right? That we try to educate people, like why we are taking this approach and how this particular approach will help us to move from X to X plus Y. So that was the first step we took. And next, obviously, the how do we justify that? What is the benchmark currently we have? So looking into the analytics and other LMS data, we come up with the benchmark data. Like what is the current conversion rate we are having from the traffic we are getting, and what is the current conversion rate, and how do we, what is the target for us? I mean, what are the KPIs we will be targeting for, say, next 6 months, next 12 months, next 6 months. So that is the data we share across with the leadership, and that's how obviously we onboarded the leadership team, we onboarded our like business partners to convince about working on the CRO program, which will be helping us to move to that direction. So along with that, I think the most important piece was obviously the like to reach that particular milestone. I mean, what are steps we will be taking to reach that particular milestone? That is, here you can understand, right, multiple steps for this tactical program to be successful, right? I mean, obviously, digital marketing team plays a very important role. Data is one of the governing factor for us, which tells us that what are the factors in which we have to work on. And obviously the Tatvic team, which consists of multiple team members, like they have the data scientists, they have the UX designer, they have the analytics. So all those play a very key role in defining all from like the top to bottom funnel. How do we define the metrics? How do we define the success of this particular program, so that everything was aligned accordingly? And that's how we went to business team and all the leadership team, and they convinced about it, and that's how we started the program, and all ball starts rolling in like almost 8 months back now. So that's how all the programs started with the CRO in Fullerton.
That's interesting, Soumya. And you clearly highlighted the role of, say, stakeholders, partners in various teams involved in this process, and how would you line up, right? But would you also kind of, how would you drive rather this entire program at team, right? Also, that's one of the questions that we've faced many times, that if they have to actually implement CRO at a team, right? what kind of drive or a support you will require to successfully implement the CRO program? So my first question to you is this. And another one, when you've implemented these, right, what were the clear benefits the Fullerton team end up earning out of this implementation?
Sure. It's a very interesting question, actually. I mean, that is the most important part of this. So I think if you can see the screen currently visible in the slide, we are able to see. So I think the most important part for us to start with was to define the roadmap, right? I mean, what are the steps we are going to take to call it as a success or failure. So that was most important. So in the first step, obviously, we did the planning of the activity where we defined we did the brainstorming around the current numbers, and we looked into what are the benchmarking numbers we'll be looking after. So all the tools plays a very important role, right? I mean, whether it's a Google Analytics, whether it's Optimize, all those tools are very important role in this particular thing. So we planned for first half a month, we planned for the steps to be taken during the whole phase. And next was obviously the auditing part. I mean, where the Tatvic team and we work together very closely in terms of auditing the whole landscape currently, whether all the touch points, digital touch points we are having, and where are we currently, what are the quick wins we can do. So that was the quick audit they have done. So as all the speakers have already mentioned, right? I mean, A/B testing is one part of the story. So there are multiple other factors which will come up during the audit, which are very obvious in terms of UI UX, right? I mean, which will give you a quick win and kind of thing. So all those points will come up during the auditing process. Then obviously the pre-A/B test analysis, where before we start any A/B testing or hypothesis, whether it's ABC or whatever. So what are the current number we are looking into? And once we design the A/B test hypothesis and we have set up everything, post A/B test analysis and also the reporting plays a very important role, right? I mean, where what are the as these are so all of us know, right? I mean, any digital activity we do, reporting plays a very important role, and we have to closely monitor the improvement which is happening in the whatever test we are doing, and to whether to continue that particular activity or to pause that particular activity. That kind of decision making will help you through the evidence reporting. So all this activity roadmap plays a very important role, and in none of these steps we can't skip during the whole period, and it's an iterative process, and you have to continuously doing this particular thing. Now coming up to the success factor, right? I mean, the next part, what are the key benefits we got out of it? That is very important, right? I mean, so there are so many things to talk about. I think there are so we had learning in terms of success, we had learning in terms of failure also. So the few solutions which we tried out and which worked well for us, so that we can probably touch upon a bit. So one of the key feature we added was in the homepage banner, where we had the current homepage banner, we were expecting more people to click on the CTS. So one of the tests we did was related to the feature, showing the features of the organization in that particular homepage banner. And obviously the better visibility of the CTA, where to make to push more people to click on the CTA. So that was the goal of that particular A/B testing. So couple of big benefit we got of that particular solution was obviously increase in the brand equity, our brand visibility and everything increased. And so the interesting part was we did two tests on this. One is in the desktop, another was in one is mobile. In mobile version, our hypothesis actually gave an uplift of 21% in lead submission. So we got almost from the current version, we got an uplift in the 21% in the lead submission, and 23% people more click on the CTA. But the similar test didn't actually work well in the desktop. So the behavior of a user in desktop and mobile is drastically different. So in desktop, we couldn't take this test live, but in mobile, currently we have taken this test live, and we have seen the positive impact of the test out of this. So there are multiple like series of A/B tests we have done related to this. So one of the example was this, and that actually helped us to gain a lot from the CRO activity.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you for sharing your insights as well, Soumya. So both of you have highlighted like clear challenges, clear benefits, and then the kind of use cases and the objectives pertaining to, of course, your brands and industry as such, that both of you kind of operate into very distinct and unique industries. as such. However, if you would have to give advice to your industry peers, marketeers, and digital strategists on driving these CRO program, what would be those? Jatin, if I may ask you first, right? What advices or thoughts that you would like to share with your industry peers?
Yes, absolutely. It all starts with, kind of knowing exactly, what's happening on your website. That's very, very important. That is your home. That is your, showroom, which is online. That is where people, kind of come in without any barriers. They can just enter it anytime. So you need to know exactly what's happening on it. When I say you need to know, that means, all data, all events, every action that is taken by a visitor has to, kind of be captured. And then, of course, you require a partner, who is an expert in it. Of course, we guys are all marketeers. We guys have our own kind of thought process and our deliverables. But we require a very, very good partner also in this journey. Who can kind of nudge us from time to time. Who can do those audits, like in the last slide when Soumya was talking about, audit played a very, very important role. Now that CRO audit, which normally is for us, of course, Tatvic is conducting it. That CRO audit actually is like a mirror to us, where we can actually see where exactly are we lacking, what all are the things that we need to do, what are the actions we need to take to make customer experience better on my website. How can I control that journey? How can I ensure that people are not leaving my your website without taking an action which leads to some sort of a conversion? Sure. So knowing is first part of this journey is awareness. To understand everything that's happening on a website. If I were to talk about 3 to 4 years back, when websites were nothing but vanity. If you are a brand, you need to have a website. But today, after pandemic, everybody has realized the importance of digital and how businesses are moving towards digital. And what is also happening alongside is that every function and department within the company who is kind of contributing to business in some way or the other, they are elevating their game by having a business presence. I can give you my example. Today, up till 2 years back, it was just motorcycles that we were you could actually come to our website and maybe kind of go through, understand what we are delivering, what we are kind of selling, understand what the specifications are, maybe make a booking or book a test. Right today, it is true for service, it is true for spare parts, it is true for GMA, it is true for apparel. Everything has gone digital now.
Agree.
So as your businesses are turning digital, it is very, very important for you to know that how the consumers are moving from one phase of their journey to the other. And only by having a very, very good understanding of it, you would know what stimulus needs to be served to a person at the right time, or what is the nudge that needs to be given for a person to stop them from exiting your website. Or if a person is kind of navigating through a certain kind of journey, what is the next most logical step for them? Should I take them to my e-commerce section, or should I kind of take them to no more section? So this entire audit that happens of the consumer journey and understanding what part of your website is serving in what part of the journey is very, very important. And that is where that is how you'll be able to put first A/B test for that. And in the last year and a half, I'm proud to say that Tatvic has been that partner to us, who has been kind of working with us to ensure that people who are landing on my website. I mentioned that number, but I'll mention it again: 3 to 4 million people for an OEM is not less. It's a very, very huge number for a mid-sized motorcycle brand. So more people are actually landing on my website than people who are actually making purchase. In terms of total number of motorcycles that we have on road is much less than the number of people who are visiting my website today. So having said that, it all starts with kind of awareness, so to say, and that has to be I would say spread across. I'm sorry, something else came up on my screen, but that has to that knowledge needs to also kind of percolate through the organization also, so that we have the right buy-in from the management. Because we all know we work in corporates, we need sponsors for each and every project which is happening. So the every every success or failure which happens needs to be presented in the right, kind of spirit, so that we have the right sign-offs at all point, and we can kind of have a long-term rollout plan rather than a tactical approach of let's do something to ensure that my conversion rate increases. If we can kind of make our website more sticky, frictionless, seamless, we will automatically be able to gain confidence of the management, and alongside gain confidence of my consumer, so that I'm adding value to the journey every time they land up on my website.
Amazing, amazing. I mean, rather very well thought through and summarized points, right from how would you drive these through organization, getting in buy-in from your sponsors, to an importance of a site, which a lot of us think just as kind of a check-in to have it, right? Very well thought through. Soumya, would you like to share your thoughts, or in terms of what advice you would like to give to our industry peers on driving CRO programs successfully?
So yeah, I think thanks to Jatin for explaining it in detail. So I'll continue from what he has just mentioned, right? I mean, setting the right expectation from the leadership and the stakeholders, right? I mean, that is the most important part. I mean, they need to appreciate the fact that how the CRO will be benefiting the company, and there will be success, there will be failure, because it's a test we are doing. It's a hypothesis we are thinking. It's a test we are doing. So there will be a success and failure, both will come, and clarity to the stakeholder is most important, to the leadership and the stakeholder. So that is the most important part. Then obviously the defining the right conversion, right? I mean, what are the metrics we will be looking after, right? What are the numbers we'll be tracking? What are the components we will be looking after? So that again, the stakeholder and the leadership team needs to understand that, right? I mean, these are the parameters which we can shift through this, and these are the parameters we can't shift through this. So obviously all the to measure those parameters, like tools and everything you require, right? I mean, that is most important. Tool analytics, whether it's other tool for doing form analytics, whether it's a session recording. So any sort of tool which will help us to measure or monitor or track the numbers. So getting support from the stakeholder for buying those or taking the license for those tools are very important, right? So right expectation, setting the right expectation, and obviously you need a time span, right? I mean, as Jatin mentioned, right? I mean, he has been doing it for 1.5 years. We have been doing close to 1 year now. So, but I mean, it's an ongoing process. I mean, it's not like for 1 year we can say that we have done everything. I mean, it's an ongoing process, and which Azim also mentioned in the initial slide, where it's an ongoing process, and we have to put a right time span around it, and it will be a continuous process. There will be learning from that, and we have to continue the activity. It's not like after 6 months we can say that, okay, we are done with the CRO activity. Not like that. And obviously, I mean, sufficient budget allocation, right? I mean, as we are talking about multiple resources from the Tatvic side, right? I mean, they have data analysis, they have UI UX expert, they have other skill sets they are bringing into the table, right? Putting the right resources for this particular activity, that is most important. Because without Tatvic support, whatever we have achieved till now would not be possible, because that is the skill set and that is the expertise they are bringing in, right? I mean, we, as Jatin mentioned, we are the marketers, bringing the traffic. Now we are getting the help from Tatvic to monetize that particular traffic to bring more leads out of that, right? I mean, monetizing the digital assets is most important for activity for us. Also, I mean, you need to spend some money for the tools you need for the monitoring or tracking, right? I mean, as I mentioned, right, whether it's form analytics, whether it's a session recording, heat map analysis, any sort of activity which help us to do this CRO, right? I mean, those might be paid tools, so we have to pay some money to buy those tools, right? That is most important. And obviously, right partner, right? I mean, getting into the engagement with the right partner, that is the most important part. So those are the important aspects, I think, which we need to monitor when we go ahead with the CRO.
Very, very well summarized. And thanks for acknowledging Tatvic's contribution in driving successful CRO program at both of your organization, guys. So Azim, now I'll just to kind of a very common theme kept on coming through our discussion was the CRO program. And Azim clearly, of course, set the context right at the beginning when he clearly differentiated between a plain A/B testing and a very holistic performing CRO program that we offer, right? And that was, as you all would have heard it from both our speakers, that was reflected very well and highlighted very well by both Jatin and Soumya, right? So if Azim, you'll have to kind of quickly walk us through Tatvic's performing CRO program, on what philosophy it works, and if you could throw some lights on it, Azim.
Definitely. So the idea was to approach CRO methodically with a scientific process-oriented approach, right? And that's why we devised the performing CRO program. Now, under this program, there's one pivotal component that we have, which is the CRO Maturity Model, which basically sets the basis of what are going to be the parameters basis which organizations are going to be segmented across different phases of the CRO maturity model that we have. Now, in this model, there are 4 components. There are 4 phases, as we'd like to say. There's the foundation phase, there's the transition, there's advanced, and there's maturity. Okay, and obviously the modalities of all these 4 phases are different, and they depend on the experimentation culture that exists in each organization. But to actually assess the phase, we have what we call a CRO Maturity Assessment that we have devised that would give you an exact reflection, exact objective reflection of where you stand in the maturity model. Now here, this maturity model is dependent on 3 key levers, that is people, process, and platform. People obviously implies the human resources required across like various skill sets to conceptualize experiments, A/B tests, and deploy them, of course. Platform is basically the tools that we need to deploy and conduct A/B tests, and obviously process is the approach that we outline towards conducting these A/B tests. Obviously, for different organizations, it's different. And just to give an example, an organization that falls under the foundation stage is more likely to conduct hypothesis and A/B testing experiments based on decisions of the gut, right? Versus an organization, say like Fullerton or Royal Enfield, they are more likely to take decisions based on data, based on sifting through mounds and mounds of data and coming up with very informed and educated hypotheses and experiments in the future.
Perfect. And you've highlighted, while I know, of course, we are kind of almost on top of the hour, but you've highlighted a maturity assessment, right? As part and very integral part of basically the entire program. What is it like in probably in a line or two? If you have to highlight the entire assessment, how would you conduct it? What is it, Azim?
So the CRO maturity assessment is basically, like I said, to objectively get an indication of where the organization stands in the maturity model. Now, over the course of years that we have been conducting these experiments, a lot of observational research has gone in, and based on that, we've condensed all of it in 40 very specific questions. So you have to answer these 40 questions and you get an objective score, and that particular score defines your position in the maturity model. Right, and I think towards the end of the webinar, if you guys are staying till the end, you can also take the maturity assessment and know where you stand in the maturity model.
Yes, and that's what I was just about to say. As I said, we are already on top of our. Before concluding, I would want to quickly check if we have any questions in the chat section. Right. So I could see 1 or 2 questions specifically been asked basically to Jatin and to Soumya. Jatin, there is a question which says, so you clearly define various segments on your website, but if you have to clearly demarcate the difference between, say, macro and micro conversions, ideally, right? I mean, that's the term generally people use from a broader perspective and to a micro level perspective. What would be those, ideally? Is Jatin, you're on mute.
I'm so sorry. So, yeah. So, you know, it's as easy put basically every page has something is so many conversions within itself. Every action that kind of you want a person to take is a conversion for us. Eventually businesses run on the basis of leads and the bookings that happen, just because that is what is getting the money in. But but the customer experience driven all the other actions that the person takes, which leads to kind of person booking a motorcycle. So our concentration would remain on this part of the journey, where we are enriching the journey, it frictionless, so that we don't have to push a person to fill up a lead, and it is an automatic kind of the next step for a person. That is the logical next step for a person. That is how we would like to look at it. At Royal Enfield, we have never been never relied on push marketing. It has always been pull marketing. When I say now push, you ensure that the experience that you're delivering through your website, through your product, through the activities that you do, kind of leave the person with a very, very good, experience, so they automatically are inclined to it, and they want to listen to you when you want to say something, rather than if you're just push. Yeah, Kushal, you.
No, all good.
Okay. Yeah, so rather than kind of just looking at a larger level, kind of conversion of okay, I'm just running after booking, because that can only happen maybe for a month or two. Eventually it will all die out, just because the first part of the journey was not right.
Wow, very well put through. And there's a question which has been asked to both of you, in fact. So do you recommend a separate team for driving CRO program or say initiative, or it should be part of your marketing or say digital initiatives team, Jatin? And Soumya, to you as well. Yeah.
See, it has to be a different team. It is not, something that, of course, today, I'll just give you an example. Every digital is a word, and a lot of things fall under digital, right? And, I'm a digital marketer myself, but then, within digital, you have paid media, you have, you have people who are data scientists, you have people who are SEO experts. So all of these require domain expertise. One person cannot do it all. Today my digital marketing team, which is kind of operating from inside my organization, I don't think they are equipped to be able to take up this task, which is an always on task for a person to know that what's happening on a particular platform. So you require a separate team, a dedicated team to do this. This cannot be done by another team. It's what my personal experience and belief is.
Excellent. Excellent. Soumya, your thoughts?
See, I tend to agree with Jatin, because you can define a clear KPI for a CRO team, and that team might be working very closely to the digital marketing team or the SEO team or the other digital asset team. But I mean, we need a separate people to govern and drive that particular activity. Otherwise, maybe digital marketing team has a separate focus in bringing more leads in terms of Google search, display, and all those things. So the focus might not be coming into the CRO activity completely. So it's very important to have a dedicated team for that CRO activity. That they might work closely with the digital marketing team for various activities, but they have separate KPI also.
True. And one last question which has just popped up on our chat window again. So the question is, what platform should be used for managing and keeping track of the CRO program or its progress, right? Jatin and Soumya, your thoughts. Are you guys using any workflow management tool or task management tools internally to keep a track and a progress on CRO program?
Soumya, would you like to answer that?
Yeah. So obviously, Google Analytics, Google Optimize plays a very key role for us. I mean, where we those are the areas we are tracking and using that. And apart from that, I think there are some other tool like we have. Firebase plays a very important. Forgot to mention. So Firebase plays a very important role if we are doing any app-related conversion tracking. So if you want to do some app-related tracking in terms of improving the CRO, so Firebase plays an important role, and all the custom events and everything needs to be integrated on that. Apart from that, there are a few tools we use for like session recordings, form analytics like Hotjar and all those things, right? I mean, that we use for understanding more in terms of hypothesis and doing A/B testing around it.
True. Azim, you've been running these programs successfully, of course, with Royal Enfield and Fullerton and a lot of other brands. Have any of your other clients have kind of specified a particular tool, or internally you've been using any tool to keep and track on the progress, or rather the performance?
So largely we use a combination of tools such as Google Analytics, Google Optimize 360, while a bunch of other clients, they also prefer using, say, VWO, Optimizely, and some such tools. We definitely rely on Analytics 360, Optimize 360, because you can actually synchronize audiences together and actually deploy experiments to the same audiences that have been consistently performing well for us. Yeah.
Very well. Excellent. While I can see a few more questions, but of course, respecting everyone's time here, we would definitely be reaching out to each and every individuals who have raised these questions and try solving your queries, of course. Now, towards the end, of course, thank you to all of you speakers for your time and, of course, sharing thoughts and insights with us. As we've learned, a well-executed CRO program could yield benefits beyond just better conversion rates, right? CRO program can inject a scientific approach and discipline in all your channels and not just like an online, helping your brand actually make smarter decisions and improve return on your dollars spent or other marketing dollars spent. To all of you who have attended and registered for today's discussion, Team Tatvic can certainly help you assess your enterprise's CRO maturity, as Azim highlighted, and help you deploy conversion optimization efficiently and effectively to achieve your business